Hi everyone, Lewis here, and today I am going to be bringing you guys another update on War Z, just showing you some of the newly released videos and some of the screenshots which have been released over the past few weeks. So first off, we've got a new video, similar to the other one which I've shown you guys. This one does not have any audio, so I'm going to be talking about what exactly is happening over it. So the player in this gameplay clip is looking around the city with his rangefinders. Of course, because there is rangefinders in the game, we can also know from that there is going to be bullet drop and that kind of stuff. So there is going to be some realism factors added to the sniping gameplay, which should make it rather cool, although that was confirmed a few weeks ago. You can't see when the player looks through the top floors of a skyscraper, you can't actually see through the windows, so I'm assuming you can't actually get to the top floors and stay inside the building. You might still be able to get on top of the building and snipe from there, but you cannot get to the top floors. But I'm sure you can still check out the lower levels of a building to get some bits and bobs, just some normal loot from there. So the main purpose of this gameplay clip is to show off a new gameplay mechanism called the type capsules. They are what you'd think they are. You just type whatever you want and then put them on the floor for other players to read. You can put literally anything you want in these. In this case, the player just puts down a simple diary kind of note. This is really just a proof of concept, and you can imagine how it would work with different gameplay mechanisms. For example, the developers could add in something such as a diary system, which is something a lot of players have recommended. So then you'd write in your diary, and then when you died, you drop your diary for other players to read your story, which would be rather cool. And kind of similar to this, but something you could hold on your player the entire time for someone else to read once you die. But even with a time capsule alone, it could be used rather interestingly. For example, you could leave some loot somewhere if your inventory's full and you just don't have any room, and leave that for another player to find, and it would be interesting and kind of a layer of player interaction without actually being beside a player, which would be kind of weird but also cool. So once the players finally wrote all the note, they then just put it on the floor, and then anyone, I can assume, can just go beside the note and hold E to read it there and then. But that's pretty much it for the time capsule. As I said, it is rather interesting and could be scaled across various different gameplay mechanisms, which could make it rather interesting for players to interact. The next gameplay clip shows a lot more action than we've ever seen before, and before anyone gets really angry, which I'm pretty sure a lot of people are going to, myself included, I was a bit disappointed when I seen this. But it is in pre-alpha. Yes, it's going to be extremely weird with ragdolls booking out, that kind of stuff. It's just really showing off the core gameplay of the game. And there is a lot of missing sounds, so I am still going to be commentating over this just because there's not that many sounds in the actual game in terms of zombie sounds, that kind of stuff. So I'm still going to be talking over it and talking a bit about what's happening on the screen. For those who haven't seen already, just a few seconds ago you'll notice that the editing system for your weapons is pretty much identical to Crisis, in that you put up your weapon and then you can change various different attachments on your weapon. It has been confirmed in an interview that all of these weapons which are shown off in these gameplay clips, as well as the attachments, are going to be extremely rare. So although this seems rather easy, the zombies don't pose any threat, this is very much something you'd find after hours of playing the game, rather than just finding it randomly in some store and then you set and just kill zombies. You can see on the player's bar, number 5, there is an item called the Wood Shield Bar. As you can imagine, it's a barricade to block off doorways or anything else, and the player does actually place a few of these later, but it is rather interesting that you can actually barricade something off to prevent zombies from coming any further. Similar to the other video clip, you can imagine how this would work with other objects. For example, you might not just have this one blockable object, you might have various different things like some barbed wire, some sandbags, something like that. So it could work with various different things, and it is just showing off the basic way how it works. This is the first look at the chat screen. You can see there's various different channels. Right now there's only proximity, which of course will be the equivalent of direct in DayZ, and also the global chat, which is the equivalent of side in DayZ. Since the player has equipped the silencer attachment on his M4, you can see whenever the player does shoot the zombies, he doesn't get any aggro from the surrounding zombies. It's not as if the zombies are deaf, since the sound is actually the main way in which we find the player. You will find out later in this clip that he does try out shooting some zombies without the silencer, and you can see how the zombie aggro works when the M4 doesn't have a silencer on it, or any other weapon for that matter. So something cool which was actually shown in the previous gameplay video, which I've shown you guys as well, is that you can actually find items in cars. So I can assume if you can find them in cars, you can probably also find them in places such as dumpsters, stuff like that. So it's interesting that you actually need to have a look around in places like this, you know, places which you wouldn't normally check, to find some basic gear. In this case, the player found a hammer, which is one of the many melee weapons found in the War Z. One of the main melee weapons which the players are going to be using is a flashlight. Every player starts off with a flashlight, and as you can see right here, you can actually melee with a flashlight. And again, it's pre-alpha. I know it looks stupid, it's pre-alpha. Calm down guys, calm down. Another melee weapon which the players could find is also a baseball bat, which is actually shown in one of the screenshots, which I'm going to be showing you guys at the end of this video. So right now you can see your player is placing down some wood shield bars. Although they are putting them in the middle of the street, you can definitely put them in front of a door. We have seen it in another gameplay clip which was released, and in that case a zombie would be able to bash down the barricade and slowly destroy it. I do know players can destroy them as well with their guns, and it is of course a sure sign if you do see a building with a barricade in front of it that there is a player inside there or some kind of base inside there, so it is rather cool that you can make some kind of safe zone using these barricades. You could also maybe use it to block the line of sight of the zombies, so that way you would be able to hide inside a house a lot easier with all of the doors and windows barred up. This is a small example of how the flares work in the game. You can see they do use real-time lighting, and you can imagine at night time how good it would be for visibility as well as showing off a position for a friend to go to. You can also see the zombie here did actually aggro into the store without the player ever showing off himself, so I can assume from that the flares did actually get aggro over zombies. Right now the players took off a sensor on the weapon, showing that zombies aren't actually deaf like I said before. All of the zombies in close proximity to a player are pretty much instantly aggroed, so you can imagine if you did have something as basic as a pistol, how this would be an issue and you'd really need to choose your fights well. Like I said earlier, this is an endgame weapon. It's not as if you can just spray and spray and not really care too much about the zombies. You'll definitely have to choose your fights wisely if you do want to last a substantial amount of time. And yes, again, that sound right there sounds very stupid. It's okay, it's pre-alpha guys, calm down. I know it seems stupid to say it so much, but I can guarantee a lot of people are going to be somewhat disappointed by the gameplay, but to be honest, the core gameplay concepts are there. Killing zombies, barricading up shit, eating food, drinking water, all that stuff's there, it just needs to be fleshed out, which is obviously going to take a lot of time. Since not too much is happening right now, other than the player meleeing the zombies around him, I do know a beta has been delayed. It was originally planned for this summer, but it's been delayed to around about mid-October, so it's going to be a bit more time until you guys can get your hands on the game just to test it out and give the developers some actual feedback. I'm not 100% how zombie spawn works in this game, but you can see in some of the screenshots, which I'm going to show you guys at the end of the video, overall there's a lot more zombies than found in DayZ. I know it seems silly to draw comparisons between the WarZ and DayZ, but of course they are very similar games, so it does seem rather fitting. Even in this gameplay clip alone, you can see there's a lot of zombies in the surrounding area still patrolling, even though the player has killed about 10 of them so far. So there is going to be a lot of zombies and they are going to pose a big threat. As I said earlier, you are going to have to choose when you do and don't shoot and when you do and don't melee, otherwise you're going to end up a dead man. Another interesting thing which we haven't seen before at the end of this gameplay clip is that the player does actually die, so you can see how exactly that works in the game. I'm assuming he did die on purpose. He probably could have survived a lot longer since he does have a very good weapon. But you can see as the zombies slowly kill the player. The player's body disappears, which might not be final, and all of the loot is dropped on the floor on top of each other. So it is going to be interesting to loot compared to DayZ. Obviously, you just go beside the body and then loot it, and you've got a big long list of all the loot. But in this, you actually have to search through it manually and find what you want, although there might still be a looting system similar to how it is in DayZ. So as I said earlier, there has been a lot of new screenshots released, and I'm just going to be showing you guys the ones which I thought were cool. So his first one is a bunch of players stuck inside a corner shop. You can see the zombies have broken the windows and are trying to reach through. There's also some barbed wire in front of a door, which as I said earlier could be a possibility, but it looks like it's pretty much confirmed right now, although it's not 100% whether or not it's placeable, but I can assume it is. This screenshot also shows how a party gameplay would be. You can see each of the players are very unique in their appearance, which is going to be a lot easier to recognize who is who, especially when in a big party. The next screenshots show off how the melee system works in combat. This first one is a baseball bat. And the second one has a hammer, which in the background you can actually see this is another nice look at the city environment. This is a backpack apparently. It's a teddy bear. Not really much to say about this, it's a teddy bear. Yeah. But ignoring the teddy bear, you can see some god rays on the top right of the screen, which is another cool graphical thing inside the game to make it look even more awesome. This is another look at the first screenshot which I've shown you guys, and the only difference here, as you can see, there's a hell of a lot of zombies, which is cool. It is a big request by players to have simply a lot of zombies, and to be honest, that looks like a good amount of zombies for a survival situation in my opinion. Or at least to make the zombies some kind of threat. And I'm sure you guys thought the last screenshot had a lot of zombies. Well, this one's got even more zombies, as you can see. Maybe. Yeah, there's a lot of zombies there. So you can see in the screenshot that the player also has a pickaxe, which is an armed melee weapon, and both the players in front of him are dual wielding. The one on the left has some kind of machine gun and a pickaxe, and the one on the right has a pistol and a baseball bat. So does that mean dual wielding's in the game? Not quite sure. Either way, it looks pretty cool. You can also see the main player has a new weapon which we haven't seen before, but it's something I talked about in my first ever WarZ video, which is the zombie repellent. I'm not quite sure if a player has to spray that on himself, or if they have to use it on a zombie, but either way it would be interesting to stop the zombies from finding a player as easily. It's just an extra item to add some depth to the gameplay. This is another cool looking screenshot. It looks like the players are in one of the cities found in the Colorado map, and there's a party of players stuck on top of a bus, and you can see again there is a stupid amount of zombies on screen, which is awesome. And there's this final screenshot as well, which I think is the last really interesting one, which I want to show you guys, is another example of a zombie horde chasing 2 players down a highway. There's a lot more information out there on the game in terms of actual gameplay mechanics. For example, there is a question system. It sounds silly, but it's actually a cool system. It's something which I briefly talked about in my original War Z video. There's some more screenshots, there's some more videos, so if you do want to go ahead and check out those. So I highly recommend checking out those if you do want some more information to feast your brains upon. Like I said earlier in the video, the beta is coming up very soon, so I'll make sure to keep you guys up to date with all of the information on the War Z. If you do want to see some more of the War Z, then don't forget to comment, like, subscribe, and all that good stuff. And I'll see you guys next time. Thanks a lot for watching.